Anyway, I'm Rick Holt. I'm the treasurer of NAVDA. This is, I think, my third term. I'm not sure. There's a couple of things I just want to say before I present the financials to everybody. I think it was 2017 financials, so the 2018 annual meeting. I was so excited to announce that we broke $1 million in assets. And today I can tell you that we're just that close to breaking $2 million. And, this wasn't, actually, I'm a little surprised by it, Andy will tell you, but the growth has been phenomenal. And I think a lot of it is due to us following a plan and sticking with it. And as usual, I do this every year. Tim will talk about, new members and where they're coming from. But I want to thank our breeders for that increase in membership, because it's the dogs that bring people in. And the other thing I want to thank the breeders for is producing such phenomenal dogs, which I guarantee you everybody on this call today has benefited from. As Dave mentioned, and you've met Kim, when we started our strategic plan, we said one of our goals was to hire a director. And I said, well, we can't do that because we don't have the money. And in a very conservative way, we discussed it and planned that when we got to around 10,000 members, we would have the finances to do so. And that's exactly what we did. So I'm really proud of that. So you'll hear about other accomplishments from everybody else, but I'll tell you that I am really excited about the future of NAVDA right now. I think we're starting to have with the hiring of Kim and the direction the board's going and the future planning that we have going on. I just think we have a whole lot to look forward to. I really do. This report, you guys received a written report from me that covers the things that I need to present for this meeting according to our bylaws. And that's our financial statements, our income statements related to the budget last year, and also our income statements related to the previous year and our balance sheet. That was mailed out to all of you. And this report will be available on the website. So you can hit the next slide there, Randy. So if we look at our income, I'm going to try and watch chat here. If we look at our income versus the budget last year, the other thing I want to say is that this is pretty easy now. When an organization is this financially successful, especially for the size of our organization, there really isn't a whole lot to say. Things are running extremely well. So anyway, our gross profit was a little bit over budget last year. That's always the case because of the way we do our budgeting. And that's obviously mostly due to increase in membership and our registry income. And our expenses were a little bit below budget. I will tell you that was largely due, I don't know if the report I sent out shows that, but it was largely due to we over budgeted for what we thought some IT expenses would be. We did a lot in IT this year, completely revamped our back end, which will enable us to do more things in the future. But that was a lot less expensive than we expected. Next slide. So again, if we compare our 2021 income statement to our 2020 income statement, it's kind of the same story. Our increase in membership and registry income accounted for the increase in gross income. Our event expenses went up 60,000 and our activity expenses went up almost the same. Oh, where'd you go? Those were largely due to the event expenses are things like That's our promotion expenses. It's things like birds, grounds fees, things like that. Our activity expense would include much of the travel and lodging to get judges to the invitational, other expenses related to the invitational, or the annual meeting. Our total expenses increased. I think I have this right on the slide. I got to check it. Yeah, our total expenses increased $172,000 last year over the previous year. And just take a quick look at that. Yeah, it was kind of all over the place. A significant portion of that was increase in payroll, which is expected. We also had one employee become a subcontractor, and we hired another about halfway through the year, so that accounts for some of those expenses. Our net operating revenue, however, was $240,000 over a previous year, which is what it's been running and what helped us get to the point. I felt that we had to be consistent about this increase in revenue. So I'm on the conservative side, as you guys probably know, before we hired someone, and I wanted to see us consistently running out around that mark before we could hire someone. And that's, like I said, just what we did. Oh, thanks, Jackie. And our insurance expense was lower as well. Oh, you asked a question about that earlier, the insurance expense. Obviously, that fluctuates, by the way, and it can fluctuate quite a bit, up to $10,000 per year. And it depends on the amount of insurance, or if we have to find a new insurance company, which we've had to do over the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, the reason for the entry fee was because that zeros, because we moved the entry fees from the previous year where we didn't have the invitational to this year where it should be. Okay, so next slide, unless there's, I don't know what I was saying about the revenue there. So again, our balance sheet, this is where we're current assets of $958,000, almost $2 million. We've got almost $1 million in our checking and a money market fund. We're going to be investing some of that money. I was going to do that last year, but we always run negative cash flow towards the end of the year. So I was hesitant to do it. So we're going to move about $250,000 into investments in a separate account. Our operating reserve fund remains at around $250,000. We did that because we had an operating reserve policy that we put in place a couple of years ago. Our life membership fund is up to $697,000, and our youth development fund has grown to $283,000. Let's see here. Yep. Next slide. So I want to thank our sponsors. As usual, ProPlan, Ugly Dog, Garmin, Dakota 283, Pheasants and Quail Forever, and the Rough Grouse Society. They've been with us through thick and thin. They're still with us. And I'm proud to have them as sponsors in this organization. I also really want to mention the general donations and memoriam that is been stable now around that $18,000 for the last couple years. And that's you guys. That's you guys donating an extra couple bucks when you sign up as a member. You know, maybe it's something we can do more of in the future, doing some fundraising for this organization, especially if we introduce some grandiose plans. But I can't thank you all enough for supporting the organization the way you do. We're all passionate about it, and this is one of the ways we show it. That's all I have. Thanks for your time.
I want to